Only 386 Alaska State Troopers patrol the rugged terrain of America's largest state. They are the first line of defense on the last frontier.
This is Alaska. Everybody has a gun in their car.
By land, air, and sea, they often patrol alone. From day one at the academy,
if you want to go at this alone, there's a high probability that you will not be here at graduation day.
to seasoned veterans fighting crime in the elements.
What about the guy that assaulted me?
These are the Alaska State Troopers.
If you don't have it up here, you're going to die.
Fairbanks, Alaska sits just 125 miles south of the Arctic Circle. And the transition from summer to fall marks the beginning of the busiest time of year for the Alaska Wildlife Troopers, a special division of the state troopers in charge of enforcing all of the state's fish and wildlife regulations. It's their job to protect some of the state's most important natural resources.
Our primary objective and goal is to work wildlife and wildlife enforcement.
Lieutenant Lance Dahlke heads up the D detachment of the Wildlife Troopers. He's in charge of 16 wildlife troopers responsible for covering an area almost twice the size of California.
This area is just gigantic. It's also very remote and isolated. Some of our guys will actually end up traveling literally hundreds of miles in their area. The magnitude of just getting there to conduct an investigation alone is sometimes almost overwhelming.
In order to respond to incidents in the most distant areas, wildlife troopers use a variety of vehicles, including ATVs, boats, and helicopters. Sergeant Scott Quist has been with the wildlife troopers for 14 years. Today's mission: check on sheep and moose hunters south of Fairbanks. He flies his Robinson R-44 helicopter along the Wood River looking for camps. Hunters usually don't stray too far from the region's waterways.
See a blue tarp down here I'm going to take a look at. Doesn't really look like a camp, but we'll just take a look and see what it is.
Approaching a strange hunter's camp is always a risk for wildlife troopers, so Quist knows he must be especially careful every time he enters a camp.
Anybody home? One thing that's a little bit different about our version of law enforcement is that when we go on patrol, when we contact people, we know a few things. We know that they will have guns, they will have knives, and they'll know how to use them. So we just go into each and every camp and every situation knowing that.
He begins by interviewing the man he spotted from the air.
Now we're just doing routine camp checks, seeing who's out and about. Is there anybody else in camp here now?
The man's alone, waiting for his brother-in-law and their guide to return. Out-of-state hunters will pay guides as much as $20,000 to provide them with a memorable hunting experience in the last frontier.
This is a big money event. These guys are investing a lot of money. They're coming from all over the world. They're obviously here to hunt big class trophies. And so these guides are really going to push the gauntlet.
Let's take a look at your meat.
With big money comes expectations. To prevent hunters from killing big game animals simply for their trophy antlers or horns, state law requires that all edible meat is harvested for human consumption. Immediately, Sergeant Quist is concerned this sheep meat is rotten.
Stinking flies. This.
He is not pleased.
That sheep is rotten. That should have gone out, a week ago. I mean, do you think it's edible?
I'm hoping to salvage some.
Next, he examines the sheep's horns. A legal ram must be at least 8 years old, as evidenced by annual growth rings, or have one horn with a full 360-degree curl.
How old did they say this sheep was?
9.
9.
It's kind of hard to tell.
I'm trying to make 8 out of it.
The meat is rotten, and the sheep's age is questionable at best.
The meat. If I was going to hold somebody responsible for it, it would be your guide. Unless you said, no, I don't want to spend the extra money to get a flight in here to get the meat out. If you refuse to have somebody fly it out, then that's your responsibility. Because it's supposed to be salvaged for human consumption. The horns are not so important. And I'd like to talk to the and we'll see if we can track them down. They're not hiding in the bushes here or anything, are they?
No.
Sergeant Quist will interview the guide later to determine if he will file criminal charges.
Wasting a big game animal is a big deal, and it's something that it bothers me. There's no question about it, both from a legal standpoint and from just a personal standpoint.
The route to a career in one of the world's most unique law enforcement agencies begins here at the Alaska Public Safety Training Academy, where for 18 weeks, wildlife and state trooper recruits acquire the tools to fight crime in the last frontier.
Because as he tries, I can deflect his hand and still pepper spray him.
Loud and proud, folks. Fire! Follow!
Academy Commander Lieutenant James Helgo knows that he and his team only have a limited time to prepare the recruits for a career in law enforcement in Alaska.
Not every day is somebody trying to stomp you into the ground. Not every day are you faced with somebody trying to give you the golden BB. Not every day, but you just have to prepare for that day.
Here at the Academy, we preach a sense of urgency, attention to detail, a sense of purpose in what we do. The citizens of Alaska expect that from their state trooper. Alaska's a big state, and oftentimes the state trooper is out by himself or by herself. It would not be unusual, as I have done in my career as a state trooper, to find yourself flying out to a village in western Alaska, find yourself responding to a call by yourself, and you're dealing with an individual who may be intoxicated and armed, and the skills and self-confidence needed to handle those situations are pretty big.
About 20% of recruits drop out every year.
Your other last.
A lot of these people that come here to the academy have never had their feet held to the fire like we do to them here. Gray shirt with your name on it, blue sweatshirt,
Blue sweats.
White socks.
White socks. Wearing your outdoor shoes. Carrying your indoor shoes.
It all starts with physical training. At 5 a.m. each morning, Sergeant Nicholson and the corporals engage the recruits in physical training drills.
1, 2, 3. So on and so forth till we get to 5. Understood? You owe me 10 push-ups quickly. Touch your knees to your elbows, Wes. That's not a sit-up. This part of your body touches that part of your body. Do it now. Do it now. There you go. That's a sit-up. 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Don't give those victim noises. We don't want to hear that. That tells me that I'm winning and you're losing. Toshner, you no longer have the ability to give up. As soon as you signed those papers and said, I want to be a cop, you gave up that privilege. Do you understand?
What we're trying to do, especially on this first week, add a little bit of stress to their lives. The stress that we put on them doesn't hold a candle to the stress that they are going to see on a day-to-day basis out in the field.
Attention to detail can make or break a case in court, or be the difference between life and death in the field. The corporals keep constant focus on the recruits, even when they're simply leaving their bunks for chow.
Light. Get your hat up in the building, Harris. You can do push-ups now. You understand that? Yes, sir. You want to do more push-ups? No, sir. Did you do enough this morning, Harris? Yes, sir. Keep your hat off. Yes, sir.
And at room check, no detail is spared.
Weber, what just beeped?
I'm not sure, sir.
Do you have a watch on you that's beeping? What's beeping?
I haven't heard it beep before, sir, but it might have been it.
Why can you think of in law enforcement that I wouldn't want something beeping on me?
In case you're trying to sneak up on somebody or go unnoticed.
Could that give your position away?
That could, sir.
I strongly suggest you hunt down whatever little cricket you have in this wall locker and smash it into about a bazillion pieces.
Yes, sir, will do.
Recruits often pay the price for their roommates' mistakes.
Are those getting heavy yet, West?
Yes, sir.
Do you think next time that you're going to have an inspection, you might check out his gear?
Yes, sir.
True or false, if I go to a call and I slack on that call,
Air Force, sir.
you're going to have to pick up my slack.
Yes,
True
sir.
or false?
True, sir.
That's what you're doing right now. I got on combat emotional survival.
Stop with the noises, West.
Don't give out any victim noises, West. It's just a couple of coat hangers with some clothes on them.
How much do you think those things weigh, West?
Half a pound, sir.
Picture this, you're in a physical altercation with someone that's motivated and combative and they want to hurt you. You're tussling around on the ground and they hear you making the victim noises that you're making right now. What do they think? What do you think that they think?
That I'm weighing down and weak, sir.
I think they think they've got you.
Smith, is anybody else from our squad?
Throughout the academy, recruits are put to the test. Today, they're simulating the use of pepper spray on a corporal who plays the role of a wanted individual.
Hello, my name's Smith. I'm with the State Troopers.
Good for you, Smith, with the State Troopers. What do you want?
Are you Joe Smuckatelli?
Maybe I am. What do you want?
I have a warrant for your arrest.
I ain't going back to jail. I tell you what, you've got 3 seconds to leave that spot right there, or else I'm going to plant this hand into your face. 1, 2.
Get your hands behind your back.
Go. Spray.
Red!
Go, Smith. Right over here.
Stow that.
Afterwards, the recruits are sprayed in the face and then must apprehend the individual while experiencing the excruciating pain.
Ah, my eyes.
Talk to him, Mike.
Get down, sir. Talk to him, Wes. Get down. What do you want? Get to me. There you go. Get that other arm. What do you want me to do? Man. You're doing good, Smith. You're doing great. What do you want me to do? Put those handcuffs on him. Red, come here. You're done. You're done.
After graduation, troopers will go on to patrol Alaska from as far south as the Inside Passage to as far north as the Arctic Circle, where they'll protect the people and wildlife in some of the most remote and extreme conditions on Earth. It's Friday in an area of south central Alaska known as the Matsu Valley. It's just below zero, and as locals get ready for the weekend, troopers from the Bureau of Highway Patrol gear up to hit the icy roads.
Hey, Sergeant Adams.
Trooper Steve Kevin has been with the Alaska State Troopers for 5 years. He works the graveyard shift, a hot time for intoxicated drivers and criminal activity.
Yes. Traffic stops are absolute unknowns. You don't know the person you're contacting. You don't know who it is. You don't know what they're capable of.
There's no concealed weapons permit requirement in Alaska, so a licensed gun owner can legally carry a concealed firearm in their vehicle.
This is Alaska. Everybody has a gun in their car because there's hunting year-round up here for different animals, different species. So I assume every car has a firearm in it or a weapon.
In addition to their sidearms, patrol troopers are issued a Remington 870 shotgun and an assault rifle like this Vietnam-era M16. Trooper Kevin's patrol car isn't run-of-the-mill either. It's equipped with studded tires and high-intensity moose lights. It's also completely blacked out, emitting and reflecting very little light, and blending in with the pitch-black Alaska night. Trooper Kevin hits the streets.
3032, did you copy the... In Alaska, one of the things most other agencies don't have the problem is that during the winter time, we only have 4 or 5 hours of daylight. We work primarily in the dark.
He's always on the lookout for one particular type of hazard.
As we come into different seasons in Alaska, we get more and more moose on the roadway. So it's basically a cow-sized animal. A large bull can be 1,200 pounds, and you hit that at 50 miles an hour, let alone if you hit it when you're responding something at 80 to 100 miles an hour. Fatalities can definitely occur. I always say, you know, I don't swerve very often to avoid objects in the road. If I'm going to hit something, I usually just hold on and brake and do my best, but a moose is something I would take the ditch for sure. All of our patrol vehicles are equipped with what we call moose lights, or really high-intensity bright lights on the front of our cars that light up the situation, so when no other cars are coming, we can basically turn it into daylight in front of our car in the middle of the night.
A call comes in from another trooper reporting an accident involving a truck towing a female on an inner tube. The inner tube hit a snow berm and ejected the woman onto the roadway. Kevin rushes to the scene to assist.
toe in this inner tube. You can see right where they slid in, and then the injured person here. Like I said, I've got photos of the tire tracks.
It quickly becomes clear the injured woman is in extreme pain.
Take nice, easy breaths. Come on. If you need to, focus on me, okay? What I want you to do is just kind of look up at me, try to slow your breathing. What's gonna happen here is if you got any broken ribs or anything, it's gonna be very painful, okay? Come on, hold on. I'm waiting to find out. The medic should be here any minute, okay? Just hang tight right here.
Trooper Kevin assesses the injured woman before the medics arrive.
Can you feel my hand?
No.
Can you feel your wrist?
No.
Keep breathing, okay?
Just hang in there, okay?
Hang tight, okay? What's your name, hon? How old are you? 19. Does that hurt? Yeah. Okay.
The medic continues checking the woman to see if she has feeling in her extremities.
What am I doing over here? What am I doing here? At this point, okay. Squeeze this hand for me.
She can only feel one of her hands and one of her feet. Trooper Kevin talks to the driver of the truck, hoping for some answers.
All right, Mr. Palmer.
Yes, sir.
She's severely hurt. Okay.
Yep.
How old are you, son?
I'm 19.
19. Okay. We've got serious injuries here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not the smartest move here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have some issues to deal with, son. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, at this point, if you want to come over here,
yep,
help a little bit for me.
Yeah.
She's probably gonna be airlifted to Anchorage. Okay. There's a possibility of paralysis here. Don't take off. Don't go anywhere until you talk to me again.
Yes,
right
sir.
Now, my focus right now is I want to make sure that young lady has all the support she can have.
Yes, sir.
So let's go ahead and go over here and help her out.
1, 2, 3.
The woman tells the paramedics she can feel two of her extremities, so they won't airlift her the 30 miles to Anchorage at this point. Ultimately, the severity of her injuries will determine the charges the driver may face. They can range from traffic violations to misdemeanor reckless endangerment.
We've got a young man, I believe he's born in '89, so this young man's 19 years of age, out here doing some things that probably knows he shouldn't have been, or at least maybe they didn't think they were going to be as dangerous as they turned out to be. Absolutely not out here to ruin anybody's life, but yet people do need to step up when they make a decision to do something. I think it's important that they, I guess, man up.
Inside the hospital, Trooper Kevin continues interviewing the driver about the accident.
Okay, Adam, can we go down here and talk? So you kind of understand where we're sitting as far as a lot of it's going to depend on her injuries.
Right.
Okay. I honestly don't know what they are at this point. Okay, I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out. What I want to explain to you is what the criteria are, what the issues are that we're going to be talking about, okay? You know, I don't think there's a dispute that you were driving the car. I don't think you were out here maliciously trying to harm anybody. Unfortunately, she swung too wide and ended up getting topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
Pulling somebody behind a vehicle like that is definitely reckless, and the fact that the risk of serious physical injury to another person, she did get hurt, could have hit another car, okay? That's a misdemeanor, okay? No one's going to jail tonight. I gotta tell you, I wish I had contact with most people that had your maturity on that, okay?
Miraculously, the victim suffers no serious injuries.
Just spoke with our victim. She's very sore, happy to be talking, and was actually getting ready to get him walk around as I walked out. At this point, that really helps that there's not serious physical injury. So that's going to make a big difference in how the district attorney looks at this case.
"600 miles west of the relative hustle and bustle of the valley lies the village of St. Mary's on the lower Yukon River Delta. The January weather is unforgiving, with temperatures hovering around zero and wind chills down to minus 35 degrees. St. Mary's has a population of roughly 500 people, mostly Yupik Eskimos. Wildlife trooper Dan Dahl has adjusted to living in the frozen bush.
We're getting a ride into the village here, and getting to experience the local transportation here.
Small things you kind of sacrifice are things like the movie theaters, you know, no movie theaters, no restaurants. You end up adjusting your way of living to compensate for those things. And it's kind of funny how sometimes you don't miss them. It's nice to go into town once in a while and enjoy them, but it certainly doesn't hurt a guy once in a while to do without them.
The St. Mary's Trooper Post typically staffs 3 troopers, but today Trooper Dahl's on his own. This means he is solely responsible for responding to calls in a 50,000 square mile area.
Yeah, Dad, I'm home. I'm outdoors.
You have to just know that your backup is a long ways away, and hours away. And my closest backup would be Bethel, I guess, with an airplane. And even then, they might not be able to get there with weather.
Dahl's also a pilot, a necessity for patrolling in an area with no highways. On average, there are 600 to 800 search and rescues in Alaska per year. By statute, the troopers are responsible for almost all of them, and that's where Dahl's headed today.
A couple teenagers from the village had left on the snow machines late one night, going back to a village just upriver called Pickus Point. And they haven't been found since.
During winter, western Alaska's frozen waterways serve as highways for snow machiners traveling between villages. These missing snow machiners disappeared 6 days ago on the evening of a big storm. A team of local volunteers and troopers began looking the next morning, only to find fresh snow machine tracks that came to an abrupt end at a section of open water on the frozen Yukon River. They've spent the last 6 days trying to recover the bodies from underneath the thick ice. The local volunteers call a meeting at the St. Mary's Firehouse before beginning the day's work.
After today,
The family wants everybody to know that they're very, very, very grateful for all the efforts that volunteers are putting in. And they're very grateful to the state troopers also.
The team heads down to the ice. It's 10 below, and the wind chill factor is approaching 30 below. The merciless conditions aside, Trooper Dahl and the volunteers know the odds for success are already stacked against them.
We've lost 6 individuals in that area.
and we've never been able to recover one.
Trooper Dahl heads down to meet the team and stops by the massive 100 by 400 foot hole.
We're standing on the trail of the snow machine trail marked by these tripods. They got off this trail onto the river out here, and somehow maybe we're searching to get back on this trail when they possibly found the open water.
The Yupik Eskimos have an unmatched knowledge of working on the frozen Yukon River from generations of ice fishing, so their unique skill set takes center stage in the recovery effort.
We knew we had a bunch of hooks and lines, and we decided to try. This is the first time I see something like this deployed, and we're hoping that if the body's going to be drifting down with the current, that they snag on the hooks.
The volunteers cut 3 separate rows of 70-plus holes. Each hole is armed with a fishing line and 2 hooks. The wall of hooks is set up to catch anything the current carries by.
It's a method that if the body's down there, this is our only chance of retrieving what we're looking for.
Each morning, the volunteers re-dig the holes and pull each line to check the hooks. The team takes a moment to get off the ice.
The hooks, there are hopes and prayers, when we go home, and we're doing the best we can, and that's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Wildlife Trooper Dan Dahl's impressed by the continuing volunteer search and recovery effort for the lost snow machiners.
We've had days where it's been snowing and raining and windy. As far as how they're working, you wouldn't know that. You would think it was a sunny day on the beach of Miami or something, the way they're working. They love being on the lower Yukon River.
We all feel, the people that are out there, regardless of cold weather or whatever, we feel like that person is our own. No matter who it is. I always feel like it's my own blood down there.
After nearly a month working on the ice in sub-zero temperatures, the bodies are never recovered. Alaska State Troopers patrol the biggest state in the nation with some of the most remote wilderness and extreme conditions in the world. Back at the academy, recruits prepare for the possibility of their own survival situation during a 2.5-day survival training exercise on a remote island in southeast Alaska. They'll have nothing with them except the clothes on their back and a small survival kit. They'll experience what it takes to survive under the guidance of Academy instructors Sergeant Shane Nicholson, Corporal Scott Carson, and retired Trooper Lieutenant and survival expert Chuck Lemica.
They're going to encounter stuff as a law enforcement officer that is just going to be horrendous. And this experience here helps prepare them for that. I've been on airplanes that have ran out of gas, had oil lines breaking, helicopters that had all the electronics die on them. All of those things, while as horrible as they were, taught me that we are tougher than we think.
They arrive at the drop point, 200 yards from shore. It's their first test.
All right, gentlemen. We've got an emergency on board. You need to get off the boat on your mark, get set, go. Let's go quickly, 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 quickly.
In a sudden immersion in 50-degree water, the Coast Guard estimates they only have a 50% chance to swim 50 yards before their muscles seize.
Quickly, gentlemen, the boat's going down. We got to get off this boat. Outstanding job, gentlemen. Nobody was overtime.
They split into teams and race to shore in a chain swim. Once there, they start by building shelters using all of the resources around them. This can be the difference between life and death in a survival situation.
For the next few days, it's supposed to be 80 to 90% chance of rain. Breezy, up to 40-mile-an-hour gusts, and it's on its way.
The instructors school the recruits on beach edibles, like these small shellfish called limpets.
It's got kind of a nutty flavor to it. It's pretty mild. It'll taste better tomorrow when you're really hungry. What do you think, pal? Not your cup of tea?
No, it wasn't that bad.
No, not bad.
Spirits are still relatively high at this point in the trip, but the instructors know that tomorrow can be different, especially after the recruits spend the night on a survival raft.
Anybody can sit underneath a tree and survive one night and then be picked up the next morning. But reality really starts setting in that second day when you realize that we're not going home today.
After night falls and the temperatures drop to 35 degrees, the recruits get their first full meal in.
Seafood medley.
All right. You guys ready for this?
Oh, I still got to cook mine. My bouillon just been added. Tasty?
It tastes like the ocean.
Captain Krusty's Crunchy Crabs.
Crab cereal.
When dinner ends, a nightly survival quiz begins, and the conditions take a turn for the worse.
Each of these questions is for that student only, so this is not a team effort. Thank you, Shane.
And after the quiz, it's time for the raft.
What's up? You got to stay in this raft until we come and pick you up tomorrow morning. It's not fun on the raft. It's not fun at all.
Take care, gentlemen.
After a long night on the raft, the recruits come back ashore. The miserable conditions, hunger, and lack of sleep are taking their toll, both physically and mentally.
Like we were talking about, normally this day two is when reality really starts setting in for some of these guys.
This one of the hardest things we've done so far. Trying to survive out here for 3 days, soaking wet rain. And 38-degree temperatures with 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Survival starts here. It helps to have some gear. It helps to have a survival kit and a pocket knife and fire. All that stuff is great. But if you don't have it up here, you're going to die.
As the grueling 2.5 days come to an end, the lessons learned are invaluable, but the experience has taken its toll.
It's mentally draining. I have been having a hard time coming up with words. I kept tripping on the way out here, just walking over to the beach. You slow down, you can feel it. Something that take you 5 minutes is taking you 10 now. It's mentally draining. But what we learned out here is invaluable. If anything were to happen to any one of us, we know the basic essentials: how to get the water, the food, shelter, fire, which is all you really need to survive until someone can find you.
600 miles away in the Matsu Valley, it's business as usual in dispatch as calls come in from all around the valley.
He's fighting. How badly is he bleeding?
Trooper Steve Kevin patrols the streets on a particularly balmy Friday night.
Can't have you walking that way. There's no way to walk to Anchorage from here. I get outside, I don't even need a coat on. It's 26 degrees, so it is below freezing. But to me, that's warm. It's not 10 below. And so it's good weather.
And the good weather can mean more criminal activity.
We're here at 26 degrees versus a couple of weeks ago at 0 degrees. More people are going to be out because they feel like it's warmer. What's up here?
Kevin responds to a call of a man fleeing an assault on a snow machine.
Possible DUI and possible assault. And at this point, it seems like we might have a fail to yield to a law enforcement officer.
MACOM T30. I'm down on Elkins. She just pinned me with a cable. I need medics.
The man on the snow machines just crashed head first into a cable, blocking a closed-off section of road.
You don't have to get in, but how would you like to just sit on my seat?
I would just like to go do what I need to do. If I need help, to get help.
We got that in
I didn't do nothing wrong. I just wanted to leave where I was.
Right now, that's not important. I just want you to be safe.
I should have one in my car. Just hang tight there, partner. Oh, you got some. There you go. No, put it on there and don't take it off, okay? Leave it on there. Quit looking at it. Just sit still and hold it on your head. Okay? Make sure you don't spit on me or nothing. Your teeth kind of hurting at all too?
Just my forehead.
Okay. So
I don't feel like I did anything wrong.
Well, you hit a cable.
Yeah, that part I understand.
Well, when you saw Trooper Lewis's red lights, how come you didn't stop?
Because I was the victim and I was gonna get charged with something.
Well, why didn't you stop and talk to us instead of take off running?
Because I've been accused of being the victim or the accuser or whatever you want to call it. What about the guy that assaulted me?
Well, we're gonna work that out. We gotta talk to you, but I mean, a concern of mine is why you didn't stop when Trooper Lewis started his or turned on his red and blue lights.
Because I didn't see them.
Well, you told me just a minute ago that you did.
I didn't see them.
Okay. Well, you said earlier that when you did see him, you didn't stop because you thought you were going to get in trouble for something.
All right, I'm very confused right now.
Well, I am too, by the sounds of things. Okay, now what happened when you were coming down the road here?
I basically got confused, came down the wrong road, hit the wire or whatever I hit, and I'm sitting in your car.
How fast do you think you were going?
I don't know. I wasn't looking at the speedometer. Okay. I was trying to get to my mom's house to get in a safe zone.
Okay. Hang tight, medics are just about here. I'm gonna have you talk with the captain here real quick, okay? Keep it on there. Keep it on there.
What's going on, partner? I got assaulted in my own house because I wanted to move out. I left on my snow machine, and next thing you know, I'm being convicted or accused of something.
That's not what I meant. What happened to your head?
I hit something. I don't know what I hit.
Okay, let me see your forehead real quick. Oh yeah, you're gonna need to get that sewed up.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
Too many.
Too many, huh?
Medic one, go ahead.
Well, you gotta really really gnarly gash all the way across your forehead, so just hang tight, okay?
Great, I can thank my girlfriend for that one.
The man heads to the hospital and later to jail, where he'll await arraignment on charges of driving under the influence, assault, and felony evading. Although the man leaves in one piece, Trooper Kevin knows it could have easily been much worse.
He was 4 inches from losing his life, literally 4 inches. Had that cable snapped him at 4 inches lower on his throat, he would have been deceased.
In the Matsu Valley, graduates from the training academy see their first action in the field. Trooper Mattingly begins his 4-month evaluation period working under the supervision of Trooper Dave Bauer, a field training officer, or FTO. They're called to the scene of a traffic accident. FTO Bauer decides to take off the training wheels on this call.
From that time that you applied your brakes, there's 150 feet of skid marks until you make contact with her.
So I'm gonna kind of just stand back and see if he's able to figure it out on his own.
Field training challenges new troopers to multitask during stressful conditions, preparing them for the potential life and death situations they'll encounter in their careers.
He left 145 feet of skid marks before he even made contact with the other car. So what would that tell you? He's speeding. He's going like a bat out of heck. Yeah. Yeah. Chargeable? Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Are you sure he's not intoxicated? I haven't. He seemed shy, but he didn't seem intoxicated. I should probably check on that, though. Well, you should have checked on that a long time ago. I didn't notice any impairment. Okay. So while you're riding, what's the difference between nag driving and failed exercise deep care? Keep riding, because we've been here 15 minutes and we haven't even started writing the ticket. Failure to exercise due care would be he failure. Keep writing. Sorry, I can't write at the same time. I was a contractor before. I was the one that told other people what to do. The field training phase is very strenuous mentally. You're always on your guard. You're always thinking, what can you do better? How could you do this? How can you position your vehicle? How can you talk to this person? I get done at the end of the day and I'm not so much physically tired, but I'm just mentally drained because my mind is constantly spinning, constantly thinking what I can do better.
Trooper Josh Roy is also training in the valley. Tonight, he works the graveyard shift with his FTO. They get their first call of the night when a vehicle strikes a moose on a busy roadway. Its hind legs are broken, so it must be put down.
I think our safest direction is going to be this way, partner.
His FTO stops traffic, while Trooper Roy makes sure the area is clear in all directions.
Clear, Todd? Yeah, so I'm going to stop it here.
That was you that had the accident with the moose, sir? Huh? You the one that had the accident with the moose? Okay. Let me just get a charity out here real quick, and then I'll get your information, all right? Yeah. I'm going to call for charity, then I'll get his information.
Local charities harvest the moose meat from traffic accidents and use it to feed the homeless and hungry population. These calls are quite common in the valley, where communities lie on the edge of the Alaskan wilderness.
I'm glad to see the meat goes to a charity, so it's not like we just waste it. We call local charities. They come and pick up the meat, and it actually does go to a good cause. So we do the humane thing for the animal, and we've also feed people in the area that are going hungry. So it's the right thing to do.
In September, wildlife troopers Doug Massey and Cody Litzer head out of town to patrol a popular moose hunting area in the Matsu Valley.
Is that for just bear protection?
Either or. There are people.
They head into the wild to look for hunters and kill sites. Hunters are willing to travel through woods, swamps, and creeks to get away from civilization for their hunt. And it's no different for wildlife troopers. After a 15-mile trek, they find a moose kill site.
And this is fairly fresh. I mean, it's not strong at all.
Wildlife troopers get their hands dirty, thoroughly examining the carcasses of many big game animals for their legality.
They look for evidence of sex.
You know, it would be easy to go out, fly to a kill site, look at it, go, yeah, something died here, and turn around and leave. We don't do that. You know, we go out, we dig into it. A lot of times these big game violations, they're maggot infested, they're extremely nasty. They'll gag the best of us.
All the heart and yeah, a lot of guys like the liver. I'm not a big liver fan myself, but a lot of people like it.
It's easier to see from the inside. I mean, there's all the bloodshot, but then that rib's broken because of the shot.
Hunters may only kill moose with antlers at least 50 inches wide. But with no antlers left to examine, it's difficult to tell how old this moose is.
Sometimes they'll take away the head, so the evidence is gone. They'll take it down, ride it down to a creek, throw it in the creek.
But Sergeant Massey is fairly confident by its size and weight that it's a legal animal. Back on their ATVs, the troopers continue their search for kill sites, traveling deep into the woods to protect the wildlife of Alaska. Back in Fairbanks, Lieutenant Dalkey spends the last day of moose season checking hunters on the Chena River. The lieutenant never takes for granted his job as a wildlife trooper.
To be able to come out and go on patrol like this, I just really think that this is a gift. Nobody else in the world has got a better job than I do. Nobody. I don't care who they are, I don't care what they say, I don't care how much money they make. It doesn't get any better than this. There it is. If it gets better than this, you guys let me know. You make sure you call me.